In this video, we're going to look at using arrays and passing arrays to methods. So what I've done here is very similar to what we've had in the previous videos. I am creating an array of size 10 to hold some random ints, and I'm generating those random ints. And in this case, I've created a method called printArray. So here's my void method called printArray, and it has a parameter that accepts an array of ints, and it's going to call that array of ints nums. So I'm going to pass my array into the printArray method, and printArray is going to call it nums. When it gets here, it's going to be stored in this variable, and we're going to just print out each number in our array, followed by a line to make it go to the next line. All right, so this really isn't any different code than we saw in previous videos when I printed each of the numbers in an array. It works exactly the same, except that we are passing the array as an argument into the parameter of a method, and the method's printing it out. Printing from inside the method, which is the message I said right before my for loop, and for each number in numbers, I print out the numbers that were generated in this random array that I created up here. All right, on the surface, that seems perfectly logical. It works really great. So here's the question. What happens if when it gets in here, I change my array inside here is called nums, and I say nums sub 0 equals 50. Okay, so I'm going to change num sub 0 to 50. And I'm going to run it, and it changes num sub 0 to 50. The question is, what happened to my array? We learned in our chapter on methods that by default, Java passes arguments into the parameters of a method by copy. Okay, so if I pass my array down here and it makes a copy of nums, and I change something in nums, when we were just using ints and things back in the methods chapter, we know that nothing happened to the original number that we passed in if it was altered inside of another method in its parameter. So I'm going to go ahead and print. This is basically the same code that I have inside here, but I am printing out each of the numbers in my array to see what happened, to see if anything happened to my array, even though we thought we passed it by copy. So let's look at it. And you can see that I passed my array to this method called printArray, and I changed num sub 0 to 50 and printed it out, and we expected that, but look what happened to my array from inside the main method. It also got changed to 50. And the question is why? Why did it get changed to 50? Because we didn't see that when we were passing ints and doubles and things back in the chapter on methods. It made a copy, and the copy that was inside the method didn't affect the original copy outside the method. And here's the difference. Remember that these variables that we are using, my array, is a pointer to a memory location. When I make a copy of my array, I am making a copy of that pointer to that memory location and passing that into nums. So this is a reference variable that's referencing a memory location. We're making a copy of the reference and giving it to nums, which will also be a reference to the exact same memory location of my array. Okay, so it is making a copy, but it's making a copy of the reference, and both of the references point to the same memory location. Okay, so when we pass a reference into a method like we just did, it still points to the original memory location where the object in this case my array, even though we're calling it nums, it's still a reference to that same array in memory. So when we change it inside the method, it also changes the original array that we passed in, because we passed a copy of the reference, not a copy of the array. So that's always important to remember. We use methods all the time to process arrays. We don't want our code all in one giant block. So if I have to print out arrays, I want to make a method called print array to print them all out. This is the logical way to do it. But remember, whatever happens inside that array, because we passed a reference, we passed a copy of the reference to the array, it will change the original array if we alter it inside the method.